Well, it's a matter of moments, the pivotal event for our young democracy, 16 years old already, and we are still counting, moving on to a greater and a better process in this particular election. It is March the 28th. Two elections taking place today, that for the National Assembly and for the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Nigeria 2015. Still very much here, and we've been taking calls from across the country, and of course comments and emails, and as well as pictures, which you'll be seeing pretty much later on the program. And a little earlier, Malpe had to display some of those processes you'll be going through, and we'll have to take that again now that we're back, but not until we go back to Abuja, where we'll be speaking with President Bakile Muluzi. He's the Chairman, Commonwealth Observer, and of course a former president. He's the first freely elected president, as they'll call it, of Malawi from 1994 to 2004. President Muluzi, good to have you join us this morning. What does this election mean to you? Well, good to have you join us, President Muluzi. This election for Nigerians, the much anticipated election, don't forget this election should have held February 14th. Now it is upon us. How would you say this is for you as an African and friend of Nigeria? Well, we have to establish contact with President Muluzi, the former president of Malawi, and also the chairman of Commonwealth Observer Mission to the country on this particular election. But let's go to our Abuja studios and see if we still have Ambassador Adigun there. This particular election is something that we have always been talking about for days, and it is upon us now. I don't think we have him there. Well, we'll come back to the studios here in Lagos. Jiti, the thing for us now is that now the process is already on, and we have seen what the cadre has done in two key places. We call it key places because we have some of the candidates there in those communities of Daura and Otoke. And finally, the process is already giving way to other people to have the accreditation done. In moving ahead, you know, there are a lot of understanding people don't have when we go with some comments from the Inspector General of Police, which we also spoke to yesterday on the program, which he would want to call in as well as an advisory. Perhaps maybe we go through the process again for those who will be going to polling units, the do's and don'ts from the Electoral Act. As a voter, when I move towards the polling units and I go through all of that process, you know, for some people, they just don't know what can put them in trouble. Good thing you're a lawyer, you're here, you can oblige us going through the Electoral Act. What can get anyone into trouble on an election day like now?
Well, voting in a democratic election is expected to be participatory. And that's why I guess that the INEC had to weigh in when the IGP was giving out an advisory of vote and go. Because if you look at the provisions of the Electoral Act, from the point of exhibiting the emptiness of the ballot box in order to inject certainty and transparency in the process, to the point of placing the ballot box. That's the language of the Electoral Act. At a conspicuous point where that ballot box will be in clear view of the public. That's the language. Clear view of the public.
It mustn't be hidden.
It mustn't be hidden. When people talk about a transparent election, that adjective has implications. Transparent to whom? Those who are conducting the election, and the observers, and the solitary voters? No. But I can understand that this advice is being given against the backdrop of what is going in our country, and so you don't want people to mass around and possibly cause mayhem. But what the voter is expected to do, and the Electoral Act has provided for offenses at election, at polling center, Section 61 of the Electoral Act, and Section 129. how you expected to conduct yourself. You not expected to go there and use a false identity and want to force your way through to vote. That will constitute an offense. Unruly behavior is prohibited. You are not expected to canvass or persuade people to vote for a particular candidate in an election because campaigning had ended. You are not expected to also disrupt the voting process or take away the ballot processes. The polling officer is charged with the duty of directing the law officer who is at the polling center to effect the arrest of anybody that is violating any breaches. And in particular, and this is very interesting, if a potential voter comes there and he brings a card that somebody says that, no, he is not the person. I think that those provisions were made there ahead of the card reader. That, yes, once the polling officer authenticates that, he shouldn't disallow him from voting, but he should incident it and ensure that he's arrested for the purpose of determining the validity of that complaint and claim. Overall, voters are not expected, any one of them, to come to the polling center and disrupt the process. They are not expected to campaign or persuade any other person, or force, indeed, any other person to vote for a particular candidate. Overall, these are just the do's and don'ts. And of course, for those who may not know, you're also not expected to don a garb or don a shirt that has the insignia and color or logo of any of the political parties. You could recall that in 1993, one of the biggest issues, not an issue really, but a pretext used by the military to justify the annulment of the election.
I'm sorry, I have to cut you there. I really want to quickly go back to Turkey, where Chukwuma Onukwu is standing by. Chukwuma has got some fresh information for us. Chukwuma, back to you now. Set up, but if you can get us here, we are on live to you. Tell us the latest development coming from Otuoke. You're still very much at Unit 13, Otazi Playground. Well, we'll get to him as soon as he's ready. He doesn't seem set now, but Chukwuma, if you're ready, you let us in on what exactly is happening. I see you're still very much at the Unit 13 of Otazi Playground, where the president has gone through his accreditation process. Well, we'll get back to Chukwuma. Well, he really can't get to hear us now. Well, he's got fresh news for us, and so we'll have to go back to him pretty much later as soon as we establish contact. And by the way, we should also be going back to Katsina State, where we also have seen live feeds from Daura and a couple of other places. Abia is still up, and the latest coming from Abia is that the accreditation has finally kicked off, and Treasure will be online pretty much later. And well, we haven't actually had calls from our correspondents in southwest of Nigeria. We hope our producers can establish contact with them so that they can start calling in and let us in on what exactly is happening. Back to you, Jiti.
Yes, I was just saying that you are also not expected to go to the polling station with wearing a shirt or a garment that has the logo of any of the political parties. That would be regarded as violating the electoral laws. The electoral laws. And I was saying that, I was indeed recalling that one of the pretexts used by the military to annul the election was that in the 1993 election, the candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Chief Moshood Kashimawo Abiola, done a big agbada with a horse embroidered
and that was the insignia of SDP.
Of SDP, a horse. So, and that became a
So I have to be careful. SDP at that time.
At that time.
Not SDP of now.
No, I'm sorry. Not
it just struck me that we have SDP now. Sorry, Jiti, we'll come back again. Quite an interesting comment we're getting from you. It reminds us, because I partook in that particular election. It was actually my first election as a Nigerian, so yeah. I understood the 1993 elections. So you're trying to gauge my age there. But anyway, Chukwuma, back to you now. What exactly is happening in Otuoke? I hope you can hear me now. You're still very much at the very famous Utazi playground, Unit 13, where the president has gone through his accreditation.
Sulaiman, what is happening here? You heard the president ask Nigerians to persevere. So what is happening here is perseverance. But I have the resident electoral commissioner, Mr. Barito Ekpan, to explain to us what actually happened with the experience at that time, whether the president actually was accredited alongside with the first lady or not. Mr. Barito, what happened?
No, my name is Barito Bagi.
Yes.
Yeah, like we were all here. So I don't think I need to explain what you saw, that the president came here with a wife and we tried to accredit them, but the card reader could not verify their card. And I can say that I was very, very embarrassed, because we thought we have done enough testing with this card. And of course, we have never had any case of the card reader not being able to verify our card. To my surprise today, I've seen it, and I'm very sad.
So what happens? Is the president going to come back to get accredited, or the president will not vote today?
I am talking with my chairman, and whatever decision that is made, I will follow.
So what is happening now? How many people have been accredited since the president left?
If you allow me to find out, I will tell you, but you can see that people are getting accredited. Even some of the people standing with us here have been accredited, using the same card reader.
So is that an indication that the card readers are working, but why didn't they work for the president?
Like I said, I'm not a technical man. I saw that it didn't work for him and the wife, and that is all I can say for now.
Okay, so that is all Mr. Ekpen can tell us about this. Mr. Bagi, right? Yes. That's right. Can tell us about the experience of the president. So, Sulai, the president has not been accredited. The first lady has not been accredited. The president, though frustrated, was hiding it and asked Nigerians to exercise patience. I don't know if I'm right. Let me talk to the former SA Media, or the Director General of News Agency of Nigeria, on this experience.
Well, Chukwuma, we're all here, and we're shocked and disappointed and quite frustrated that the #1 citizen of this country, who is standing for elections, cannot even vote for himself. It is a very sad development. I hope INEC will find the means to sort this problem out. I have been speaking with the REC. I actually spoke with Professor Jaga on the REC's phone, and he told me that he has directed the REC to accredit the president and his wife by the register. So, but I also asked that, is this exclusively for the president and his wife, or is this going to be replicated in other locations? He said no, that it's for just the president and his wife. But as we speak, we don't know, we have no information, because we are here in Otuoke and cut off the rest of the world. But as a journalist and as a reporter myself, I can imagine that this possibly could be happening to millions of other voters elsewhere. So how do we do? How do we sort out this kind of problem? I think INEC really has to step up to the table in this matter and sort it out, because accreditation will end in just a couple of hours. You know, what if this is happening to other people who don't have a voice?
I also saw you in the queue. Have you been accredited?
I was accredited. I was lucky. I was very lucky. In fact, I wasn't sure. He rejected my index finger about 4 times before I kept cleaning it and wiping it before it worked. Well, I was lucky. That's all I will say. And I hope that the vast majority of Nigerian voters are as lucky as I've been today.
So what it means is that you're taking the REC to where the president is, and you're consulting with the INEC chairman, and the president might come back here to get...
Yes, we are living here now to see the president so that the REC can deliver the INEC chairman's message to him, and hopefully the president will come back and be accredited based on the register.
Thank you very much. That's been Emma Niboro of the news agency of Nigeria narrating his experience. Luckily, he has been accredited, but the president, the PDP candidate, has not been accredited. That's the information I want to get to you, Sulaiman. As I hand back to you, we're still standing by, waiting. If the president is going to come back, we'll let you know. If he's not going to come back, we'll get you the situation report here as I hand back to you, Suleiman.
Well, certainly, thank you so very much, Chukwuma. Definitely, he'll be coming back. He has to cast his ballot. He's a player, and he has all the rights as a Nigerian citizen to cast his ballot. We'll get back to Chukwuma, who has just clarified for us that the president and the first lady have not gone through that process, or have not succeeded in the process, because they went through the process. It didn't work perfectly well for them, and when we saw their cards being handed over to them, we thought that the reading was that they have gone through the accreditation. But the new information coming means that that is not so. Well, GT, not too good a story we're getting.
No, but let me just remark quickly that what I said earlier is even more valid now that we know that the president was never accredited. That following is not being accredited with the first lady, he still came out to urge patience, to urge Nigerians to give INEC the benefit of the doubt and to wait through the process and cooperate with INEC. And I did say that was very statemanly, and I restate that. Now, that said, we hope that that kind of, because from the reports, which is the silver lining, from the reports, although Nima Niboro said that he was lucky, from the reports, it's only the president, at least from what we've heard, and the first lady, that didn't succeed with accreditation. Other people are being accredited, and even when we saw the live feed right now, we saw other people being accredited. And so, again, no jumping to conclusion. It may just be a mere coincidence. INEC has to step in, and I'm happy to hear that the topmost echelon of INEC had stepped in and said that the president should be accredited by identification as per the register. Now, that said, I think that INEC will just have to keep its eye on other areas that perhaps are not enjoying prime-time television coverage, live coverage, like this one has attracted, and so rectify any ongoing problems in the course of doing this.
We'll come back to you, Captain Umar Aliyu. I'd love to go back to Ambassador Adigun so that we can allow him go, because we understand you are also going to the field to exercise your franchise. Now the information coming from Chukwuma has it that even with the, I'll use the word from GT, that the manly statement from the president asking everyone to be patient as they go through this process, he still has not been accredited.
This is quite a surprise to me, because the way the president came out from this scenario really doused the tension, and I appreciated this statement like posture of the president. But that notwithstanding, I said ab initio that using the card reader for the first time might bring some obvious hiccups, and it is now clear to us that it is our president that really, and the wife, that really had this problem. What I don't understand, I don't want to speculate, but the president has doused the tension. Why is it that it's only the president and his wife's card reader, his wife's PVC that cannot be accredited by this card reader, and others were doing that? And maybe this case further should be investigated. But we are happy to know that the president, and the wife by identification, by that status, can now vote. Be that as it may, but what happens to others? Will others not go because the INEC chairman is quoted as saying that no other person will be accorded such respect in case the candidate defects. But that notwithstanding, I think we have to be careful about this.